All right, so I got a backlog here of a bunch of Asian horror films, this one being Indonesian. I feel like Indonesia is the country I cover the most outside of the United States on this channel. I just watch a lot. I think Netflix drops a ton of these. Now, this is not on Netflix in the States, but it is on Netflix elsewhere. So, um, this one won't be easy to find if you're in the United States. But this is Haunting of Mount Gede, Gede, however you say that. And this is about two best friends, Maya and Ita, and they want to go on a hiking trip. They go out there and they are told that they shouldn't continue on the hike because Ita has started her period. They don't listen now. They think that something is going wrong because of these things, and she brings something back with her. Um, you know, I feel like with Indonesian horror, there is a cultural aspect, of course, that I'm missing, that is just absent from my life. Um, you know, and a lot of these movies say that they're based on true stories, and this is an account from someone over there, and I think a good amount of audiences in Indonesia and surrounding countries would probably, believe this, and so that would probably scare you more. I'm not one of those people, so that aspect of the film doesn't. I don't really care about that part. But this is pretty classic, tropey stuff here. I think where the movie does a good job is in our relationship between our two leads, Maya and Nita. I think that they have good chemistry with one another. The brother and the friend group that they go hiking with, they're kind of classic, typical guys that don't really want them around and are kind of putting up with them. And their character stuff is okay. As far as the horror stuff goes, which is what most of us are really doing here, that's all pretty typical standard fare for Indonesia. Nothing really stands out. Unfortunately, there's some bad effects, especially with facial distortions like eye color and whatnot. Doesn't look good. There's a couple elements that are clearly like CG and don't look all that great. I did like one entity and the way that it looked for the most part. I thought that was probably the creepiest thing in the film, but unfortunately most of it is pretty generic tropey type stuff, especially for Indonesian. Like, if you've seen this, or if you've seen a lot of Indonesian, this is horror, then this is not going to be anything new to you. Yeah, I mean, this is a country that's deeply rooted in cultural superstition, and that's fine. They inject it into like every one of their movies, and this one has to do like kind of the like cautionary tale, and in the end credits you get like the recounting of the events throughout the movie by the person who told the story, the true story, which I think adds a good element to it, like an authenticity. If you are somebody who is raised with this belief, and you truly believe it to your core, then I think her being there at the end adds to it. But I don't know. There's not. I don't find a lot of Indonesian horror that I love. I usually am pretty on, like, in the middle on a lot of it, but sometimes I find some really good stuff, and you got to wade through uh, movies to find the gems, and this one is just kind of okay. it's okay. It's probably on the lower end of okay when it comes to Indonesian. I didn't like the horror much in this. I didn't like the story much. The reveal for me in the end was kind of like okay, and it mirrored another film a lot that I've watched, and I feel like this is actually a common thing I've seen in Indonesian horror movies. What ends up being the reveal. So this obviously has got to be some kind of common practice, or at least thought to be, with their storytelling and their folk tales and such. So yeah, nothing to run to. Nothing. If you're like a big like Southeast Asian horror fanatic and you love movies from this region, or specifically Indonesian films, this is definitely not one that's reinventing anything. This is not one that's doing what it does super well. So it's like, oh no, this one's the exception. You definitely got to check this one out. It's okay-ish. I just wasn't really that invested, other than in our main two girls. But it's just because they're likable young girls that seem to really care about each other. And as a father, I watch these girls and think like, of course I want them to be okay. Of course I want them to just live out their teenage life and just be carefree and enjoy the world and grow up. And it's always sad to see, you know, people in general, but especially young people, kind of have their happiness in their lives potentially stripped from them. So, and I feel like they do a good job of building a believable friendship and dynamic and characters that feel real. So, good job on them. Good job on the actresses. I just think that it gets way too classic, tropey, generic, and not not in a good way. Not that those would ever be good ways, but yeah, it just doesn't work. So anyway, oh well, and that's that one. All right, I'll see you in the comments. Adios.